Giving honor to God who has protected me and looked after me and kept this church strong. I love me some Walker Temple. I tell you on Sundays, I can't wait to be here. Setting up all this stuff, all the people running around, praise team going at it. The hustle and bustle of the Lord. There ain't nothing like it. Your pastor, Pastor Roz, did a very special thing for me. She don't even know it. I did this last year, and I sent a DVD to my aunt. We got everything on YouTube. I worked very hard to put this stuff up on YouTube. But my aunt don't know nothing about no YouTube. So I had to send her a CD. And she sent me a text, and she says, "You sound like Frank Morgan." And I'm trying to figure out who Frank Morgan is. He was a farmer, he was a boxer, he was a minister, and he was your grandfather. And I was like, really? See, my mother was orphaned as a teenager, so I never met my grandparents. And so I'm hoping he helps me out today. And I have to thank my wife, because she's like a bottomless pit of inspiration. She does so much for so many people. It's like watching a reality show. And I'm going to need everybody to pray that she actually gets a reality show, because to watch the stuff that we are forced to watch on television, you have someone who's doing poetry and psychology and dancing and preaching. And that's a show I want to watch all day and all night. I want to thank my daughter, Ife, who is turning out to be the greatest big sister on the planet Earth. I wish my big sister could play the piano for me when I was just little. And to watch her play the piano for her newborn brother is something just remarkable. And even him, the last time I was up here, he wasn't even around. And so I'm definitely feeling a little extra pressure today. But it's great to have friends and family. I got a few friends in the house tonight and this morning, and ironically, they're all filmmakers. But this is LA, so maybe that's not special. But Marquette, Seek, Malika, I cannot express to you how important it is to have friends who are gifted, because it's a constant reminder of what God can do when the circumstances are just right, and He really wants to bless somebody and to see what that looks like, such that when it's happening to you, you recognize it for what it is. And the musicians and the media department and all of the departments and ministers and the church, I love and thank you for keeping this boat afloat and keeping the spirit high and allowing the Lord to walk in the building and be proud of what He sees going on in the hearts and lives of the people of Walker Temple. It's going to be a beautiful day. wonderful Sunday. Let's bow our heads. Dear God, please look after us today. Allow us to seek your word. Allow us to seek the truth. Put in our hearts and spirits something very special and magnificent, that we might be able to share it with others, that they might see us doing good and want to do even better. Allow us to read your word with clarity. Allow us to share it with the people that we meet in our communities. Enrich our communities. Inspire our communities. Strengthen our communities. Allow them to hold hands. Allow them to see into each other's hearts as human beings. And if they don't walk in the Walker Temple, allow them to walk into some sanctuary. Pray and to keep your name lifted up. Look after us now and forever always. Be with us. Keep us healthy. Keep our bodies strong. Remove all the brokenness from our hearts, from our families, from our communities, from our nation. Keep us strong and keep our minds together, good Lord. Keep our minds straight. Keep our mental health intact. Thank you for doing what you have done already. Thank you for doing what you have already done. And we thank you for everything you are about to do in our incredible, enjoyable, spectacular, God-fearing lives. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Today we're going to be looking at the book of John, chapter 15, verse 1 through 8. Please stand. That's the book of John, chapter 15, verse 1 through 8. I'll be reading from the King James Version. I am the true vine, and my Father is the husbandman. Every branch in me that beareth not fruit, he taketh away. And every branch that beareth fruit, he purgeth it, that it might bring forth more fruit. Now ye are clean through the word which I have spoken unto you. Abide in me, and I in you. As the branch cannot bear fruit of itself, except it abide in the vine, no more can ye, except ye abide in me. I am the vine, ye are the branches. He that abideth in me, and I in him, the same bringeth forth much fruit. For without me ye can do nothing. If a man abideth not in me, he is cast forth as a branch and is withered, and men gather them, and cast them into the fire, and they are burned. If ye abide in me, and my words abide in you, ye shall ask what ye will, and it shall be done unto you.
That's it.
Herein is my Father glorified, that ye bear much fruit. So shall ye be my disciples.
Yeah.
Even though John opens chapter 15 with this great metaphor of fruits, vegetables, it is lost on us because today we live in a type 2 diabetes culture. So I could stand up here all day and talk about apples, oranges, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, lettuce, tomatoes all day, and you wouldn't hear a word I say. Turn and tell your neighbor, you lost me at fruit.
Yeah.
Fair enough, let me make it plain. In the world, men compete to convince other men that they are powerful for the sole purpose of getting others to do what they want them to do. In the book of John, Jesus enters this toxic environment and he declares, don't listen to men. Instead, do what God tells you to do because he is even more powerful. Furthermore, don't take my word for it. Allow me to demonstrate just how powerful God really is. Then he begins to perform many miracles, signs and wonders. He turns water into wine, heals the blind, feeds crowds with some bread, raises folk from the dead. Jesus acts are so big. They make man appear small. Man don't like looking small. Meek and weak. He wants Jesus to stop. But Jesus won't stop, and it don't stop. Man becomes so frustrated, so jealous, so angry, so stark, raving, mad. Man decides to destroy Jesus once and for all. Y'all, this thing here is better than the Avengers. But Jesus has another trick up his sleeve. He can see the future. So what does he do? What would you do if you could look ahead and see your situation go sideways? You would prepare for the worst, which is exactly what Jesus is doing in chapter 15 when he starts talking to his friends about his disciples about gardening, fruits, and vines. In essence, he says, follow my example, stay focused on the work we have started, and complete the task I have given to you. If for any reason you cannot complete your task, that's okay. The success of the group is independent of, detached from, and unrelated to the failures of any one of you. Because we work as a team, our success is shielded from the individual weaknesses. You do not have to be perfect. If you fall, we got your back. The book of John begins with the baptism and ends with the crucifixion of Jesus, two undisputed facts of human history that can be authenticated in both Christian and non-Christian historical documents. No leap of faith needed. Jesus is both a historical and biblical figure. If you're searching for coincidence, look right there. There's one for you. We know he was baptized by John. That's a fact. We know he was crucified by Pontius Pilate. That's a fact. We know he roamed around Galilee. That's a fact. We know Galilee is a city, Roman Empire. That's a fact. In fact, Jesus is born during the reign of Augustus, the first emperor of Rome. In other words, the Roman Empire and Jesus, the Christ, are both babies at the exact time in history. If you are searching for a coincidence, look right there. There's one for you. By the time Jesus is a teenager, Rome's throne is transferred from Augustus to Tiberius, the second emperor. And by the time we get to the miraculous events chronicled in the book of John, a terrible crisis is occurring in the life of Tiberius. Unscrupulous members of his cabinet conspire to oust him from power. The walls are closing in. His friends are far and few. Family are recruited against him. And it's looking like Tiberius will suffer the same fate as Julius Caesar. Et tu, Brute. But Tiberius is quick to wrath and retaliates with great fury, fear, and folly. Any and everyone associated with the plot to remove him from leadership is rounded up, tortured, and killed. Men, women, children, Old, soldiers, citizens, strangers, and even family are not exempt. His killing campaign of friends and family is so widespread, when the time comes to choose an heir, there is only one viable option: Caligula, who history records as a poor choice of leadership, and single-handedly responsible for the fall of the Julio-Claudian dynasty.
That's it. Teach that.
Here we go again. We see two very important things happening at the exact same time in history. The ruler of Rome is eliminating people who could perpetuate his dynasty or destroying his disciples at the same time that Jesus is collecting his.
Yeah.
If you are searching for a coincidence, look right there. There's one for you. When Christ is in crisis, his behavior is the polar opposite of Tiberius. Why? What does Jesus know that the ruler of Rome does not? The church is here, but the emperor, the empire is long gone. What does Jesus know that the emperor does not? I am the vine, ye are the branches. In the field of engineering, we designate any element of a system that breaks, and as a result, brings down the entire system a single point of failure. They are undesirable in any system requiring reliability. They are a liability. If the church is to survive, if God's gospel must spread, if God's son is going home, how on earth do we avoid this single point of failure? I am the vine, ye are the branches.
Yeah.
There are three branches of government in the United States of America. They are the judicial branch, the legislative branch, the executive branch. The executive branch is, of course, led by the president. We just exited Black History Month. But a remarkable externality of having a black president is that at long last, popular history and black history are one and the same. So when the president does in one term what past presidents could not accomplish in 100 years, I celebrate. Finally, universal health care for all. But not so fast, fancy pants.
Speak on.
The tables turn for the worst as Republicans rally the support of 27 states in a lawsuit to have the law repealed. You see, good fortune's elusive. It squirms and it dances. But trust in God. Don't take no chances. I am the vine. Ye are the branches. The House and Senate, or legislative branch, authored the Affordable Care Act in such a way that it relies on a tax, aka the individual mandate. The bill's billions of pages of legalese that boils down to this: the sick must be cared for. That care ain't free. We all pitch in and pay for it. The pitch in and pay for it part is the individual mandate. But the conversation begins with an axiom or moral obligation to life itself, a gift so precious, we are called to do everything we can to sustain it. Opponents are saying, you can't force me to help my fellow Americans. I'm gonna sue you. If that's not ridiculous enough, Republican conservatives invented and advocated the idea of the individual mandate before they sued the federal government for implementing it. So if it's not the core ideas in Obamacare the Republicans hate, what is it? about Obama they hate so much. I know what you're thinking, black people. It's not bigotry. It's just politics. Or maybe bad luck. Good fortune's elusive. It squirms and it dances. But trust in God. Don't take no chances. I'm the vine, ye are the branches.
That's it. That's it. That's it right there.
Republican motives are so transparent when the lawsuit reaches the Supreme Court, the highest court on the judicial branch. More is at stake than just universal health care.
That's it. Tell us, though.
To disintegrate an act of Congress at the obvious request of a political party on the grounds that the federal government is not allowed to tax its own citizens, a power it flexes every year, would have sent a disturbing message to the nation. All of us would understand instantly that the Supreme Court is not fair, nor impartial, but instead a tool. Well, Chief Justice John Roberts and the majority of the Supreme Court decided to send a different message. The responsibility to produce fruit is shared across all branches, just as the responsibility to assist the sick is shared across all citizens. Herein my Father glorified, that ye beareth much fruit, so shall ye be my disciples. Bear fruit. Do God's work, because you never know when the enemy might attack your health.
Yeah. Oh.
Good fortune's elusive.
Hello.
It squirms and it dances. But trust in God.
Trust him. Trust him.
I am the vine, ye are the branches. Back in the day, when I was learning to drive, you didn't want to be in the car with me. I get in the car and go somewhere, not know how to get there. I mean, just drive around the general vicinity until I roll up on the spot. And ain't no way I'm going to stop at a gas station, a 7-Eleven. That's not going to happen. I'll roll around town till tomorrow.
That's it.
Because quite honestly, how many streets could there be?
Yeah.
And now I got GPS, Google Maps navigation
Take me there.
on my smartphone.
Yeah.
You can't tell me a daggone thing. I don't need no help. The church sometimes gets branded as a place to go when you're in need, to go when things are falling apart, to go when there's no more options, to go when we want a miracle. But as a man, I look at my life, which ain't perfect, but the stuff that ain't going right, I can fix. If I plan smart enough, if I work hard enough, if I network long enough, eventually I'm going to come out on top, I think.
Yeah.
So as far as joining a church is concerned, I don't need saving. I don't need a miracle. I don't need words. I don't need, period.
Yeah.
Now let's assume for a second that this self-analysis is accurate. And you really do have a handle on the large lessons of life. Never mind how the church is branded. That's actually a perfect time to join a church. Because you have some serious tools you need to be sharing with the rest of us. Which means you need to become a leader in the community of Christ. But I'm a black man, and nobody gives me an opportunity to lead anything. Nobody reaches and rushes to mentor me. Nobody expects me to walk in front. I really don't know what that's about. People tell me to sit in the back of the bus. I get passed over for promotions. I get the short end of the stick. I don't know nothing about leadership. Not true.
Yeah.
We just spent the last however long talking about powerful leaders like Tiberius, leader of the largest empire the world had ever seen. Obama, leader of the largest empire this world has ever seen.
Right.
Christ Jesus, standing at the gate of the largest empire the world will ever see. Don't tell me you don't know a thing about leadership.
That's it.
Don't do a Tiberius. Instead, keep your head while all around you are losing theirs. Assemble a great team big enough to absorb the blows of error and accident, and do not be afraid to dismiss staff that have fallen off. Because by the time we get to the fruit and vine of chapter 15, Jesus has already rid himself of Judas in chapter 12.
Gone.
Because crisis is coming. And even if you've been lucky enough to avoid it up till now, don't wait until Rome is burning. And good fortune's loose. It squirms and it dances. But trust in God. Don't take no chances. I am the vine, ye. 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 I am the vine, we are the branches.